Welcome to this quiet hour. Take a moment, if you would, to settle where you are, to let the weight of the day rest against whatever is holding you now. The bed, the pillow, the soft place beneath your shoulders. There's nothing to do here but listen. Nothing to solve, nothing to answer. Let your breath find its own slow rhythm. In through the nose, gentle and unhurried. Out through the mouth, softer still. And again. Your body does not need instruction. It already knows how to rest. You are simply reminding it that rest is welcome now. Tonight, we are going to drift together. Not far, not fast. We are going to rise very gently into a lilac evening above a patchwork of sleeping farmland. And we are going to keep company with a person named Evo, who sifts pollen from letters on a mail balloon that only ever flies at dusk. The balloon does not race. It does not hurry. It agrees with the wind, and the wind this evening is patient. So, we will be patient too. If your mind wanders while I speak, that is perfectly fine. If a sentence slips past you unheard, that is also fine. The words are only a soft rope for you to hold loosely until you no longer need to hold anything at all. Let your jaw soften. Let your tongue rest low in your mouth. Let your shoulders melt a little further away from your ears. Let your hands go heavy. If you feel a small tension somewhere, a place in your neck perhaps, or a knot behind the eyes, simply notice it without complaint, and let your next slow breath pass through it. Nothing has to leave right away. Nothing has to change on command. The evening is long, and the balloon is slow, and there is time, plenty of time, for every small tightness to unwind. Now, gently, let the room around you begin to fade. The ceiling, the walls, the small sounds of the house. They can stay where they are, doing what they do. You are not going anywhere they cannot find you. You are only borrowing your imagination for a little while and lending it to a hillside where a balloon is being prepared for a soft evening crossing. Breathe in once more and out. And now we begin. The hillside meadow smells of hay. Warm, sun-dried hay, and something sweeter beneath it, the faint honey of clover that has been closing its petals all afternoon. You are standing on a wooden platform at the top of a slow green slope, and the air around you is the color of lilac water. The sun has already lowered itself behind the western ridge, leaving only a wash of pale gold along the horizon, and above that gold, a blue so soft it feels closer to memory than to sky. Before you rises the balloon. It is not a large balloon, nothing grand, nothing showy. Its envelope is a patchwork of butter-colored canvas and faded green silk, stitched and patched and stitched again, so that every square holds a small history of some earlier evening. Ropes as thick as your wrist hang from its lower ring, and from those ropes, suspended like a bird's nest at rest, hangs a small wicker cabin. The cabin is round. It has one narrow doorway, one low window on each side, and a woven roof that curves gently, like the shell of a slow, kind creature. Gauze curtains, dyed the pale purple of dusk, hang inside the windows. They stir a little when the breeze crosses the meadow, just a little, as though the cabin were breathing along with you. You can hear the rigging. Ropes against wicker, wicker against ropes. A soft, dry creak. A slow groan that is not complaint, but conversation. It is the sound a hammock makes when someone shifts inside it. It is the sound a wooden boat makes at a quiet dock. Listen for it. The soft groan of rope against wicker. The the balloon is speaking with itself patiently while it waits for its passenger. Somewhere down in the valley, a sheep bell chimes. Just one small chime, faint and far, and then another, a moment later, from a different direction. The sound rises up the slope on a slow, warm updraft, an updraft that smells of grass and dust and the last of the day's heat lifting from the fields. Feel that warmth against your face. Feel it lift the small hairs at your temples. Feel it move on, up past the balloon and away into the darkening sky. At the base of the wooden platform, a lantern is burning inside the cabin. Only one lantern. It is an oil lamp with a plain brass base and a chimney of clear, faintly smoked glass, and it casts a dim amber glow through the gauze curtains. From where you stand, the cabin looks as if a small, warm heart were held inside it. The light does not flicker. It simply breathes. This is when Ivo appears. Evo, the Pollen-Sifter of the Twilight balloon post. Evo is not tall, not short. A person of gentle build, wearing a long, oat-colored coat that falls almost to their knees. And beneath the coat, a soft linen shirt the color of clouds at midday. Their hair is the shade of dry wheat, and they wear it tied back with a length of green ribbon. Their hands are clean and unhurried. Their eyes are the color of river stones. Evo carries, in one hand, a small canvas satchel of letters. In the other, a dented enamel cup and a stoppered flask that smells, very faintly, of barley and honey. They cross the platform without haste and step through the low doorway of the wicker cabin, ducking a little so as not to brush the lintel with the ribbon in their hair. Inside the cabin, everything has a place, and every place has been considered. Along one curved wall stands a small brass sorting desk, a shallow, tilted surface, its metal worn smooth from years of quiet work. Above the desk hang 2 lengths of soft twine and a set of labeled tins, each tin no bigger than an apple, arranged in a neat, low row. The tins bear the names of colors written in careful ink: pale yellow, deep yellow, lilac, cream, dusk blue, and one that simply says, mixed. On the opposite wall hangs a copper sieve, a round, shallow sieve, its mesh so fine that when Ivo lifts it down and holds it up to the lamplight, the whole thing seems to hum with a faint golden dust. The copper is warm and pinkish, softened by decades of use, and it fits into Ivo's hand as though it had been made for that hand alone. Beneath the desk, a small stove, no bigger than a loaf of bread, holds a low, steady flame, its heat just enough to keep a kettle warm. The kettle is enamel, like the cup, and dented in the same soft way, as if the two had grown up together. A ribbon of steam rises from its spout and curls, unhurried, into the still air of the cabin. It curls and thins and disappears somewhere near the woven ceiling. Watch that steam for a moment. Watch it curl. Watch it thin. Evo sets the satchel of letters on the brass desk. The letters make a soft, papery sound as they settle, a dry rustle, gentle as leaves in a shallow basket. Evo pours a small measure of barley tea into the dented enamel cup, and steam rises again, curling in still air. They take one slow sip, exhale, and set the cup at the corner of the desk where it will not be knocked. Then Evo steps back through the doorway and onto the platform. They lift a hand toward the meadowkeeper, a figure in a wide, soft hat far below, who is holding the last mooring line. The keeper raises a hand in return. There are no shouted instructions. There's only the small movement of one hand toward another, and then the slow, patient loosening of the rope. The balloon lifts. It does not leap. It does not jump. It simply ceases to press against the platform, and the platform ceases to press against it, and the two agree, gently, to part. The wicker cabin rises with a soft groan of rope against wicker. The ground falls away, not quickly, not in a rush, but in the slow way that fog falls from a hilltop. Below, the meadow becomes smaller. The tower becomes smaller. The keeper in the wide hat becomes a small, calm shape, and then a smaller shape still, and then only a suggestion of a person on a green hill. Evo steps back inside the cabin and closes the woven half-door behind them, not to keep anything out, only to keep the warmth in, only to soften the small breeze that has begun to slip in from the west. The balloon is drifting now, drifting east toward a valley that has already lit its lanterns. You are in the cabin with Ivo. There's room enough. No one will ask you to speak. No one will ask you to help. You are simply here, near the low window on the eastern side, with your hands resting on the smooth wicker rail, and the warm updraft passing gently across your face. Below, the fields have begun to pool with shadow. The hedgerows are dark green ribbons across paler green squares. Small ponds hold the last light like coins held in the palm. A dirt road winds between two farms, and on that road, a cart is moving so slowly that from this height it seems not to move at all, only to consider moving. The world below is being tucked in, fold by fold, field by field. Evo returns to the brass sorting desk and settles onto a low wooden stool. The stool has 3 legs and a cushion of soft blue cloth, and it creaks once in greeting. Evo opens the canvas satchel and lets the letters slide onto the desk in a gentle heap. There are perhaps 40 of them, perhaps 50. The number does not matter. What matters is the small, careful order Evo will bring to the heap, one letter at a time. The letters are dusted, truly dusted, because the balloons cross fields and orchards and long meadows on their slow evening rounds, and because the envelopes are often left, briefly, in open baskets on hillside tables, and because the world in this season is thick with drifting pollen. Every letter has arrived at the balloon post wearing a fine veil of yellow, or lilac, or cream. Some of them are so lightly dusted that the color is only a suggestion, a faint blush across the paper. Others are frankly golden, as though they had been rolled in sunlight. Evo lifts the first letter. It is a small square envelope, the color of oatmeal, addressed in careful blue ink. Evo does not read the address. That is not their task. Their task is only to sift and to sort by weight, and to retie the bundles with soft twine. The reading of addresses belongs to another person, later, in the lantern-lit valley. Evo holds the letter above the copper sieve. The sieve rests inside a shallow wooden tray, a tray with a lip along each edge, so that nothing lost can be truly lost. With a slow, gentle motion of one hand, Evo brushes the face of the envelope with a small, round brush of soft badger hair. Fine yellow pollen falls through the copper sieve. It falls like a slow drift of very fine sand, like flour falling from a baker's palm, and it collects in the wooden tray below, in a small, warm heap the color of afternoon. Listen to that sound, if you can imagine it. The whisper of soft bristle against paper, the near silent fall of pollen through copper, the dry, patient rustle of the envelope being turned. Evo turns the letter, brushes the back and lets the last of the pollen fall. Then they lift the sieve, tap it once, very gently, against the rim of the tray, and pour the small yellow heap into the tin labeled pale yellow. The tin is already about a third full. There's always more pollen than one expects, and always less than one fears. Evo closes the lid with a soft, papery click. The letter, now clean, is set to one side of the desk. Evo lifts the next. This one is lilac dusted and heavier than the first, perhaps a longer letter, or a letter written on thicker paper. Evo weighs it in one palm, considering. They set it gently in a second small pile. The heavier letters together, the lighter letters together, the middle letters, the modest, ordinary letters, in a third pile of their own. And the sifting continues. Envelope by envelope, brush by brush. Fine yellow pollen falling through the copper sieve. Fine lilac pollen falling through the copper sieve. The soft, dry rustle of paper. The small, papery click of tin lids. The slow groan of rope against wicker as the balloon drifts on its warm updraft. You can watch as much or as little of this as you like. You can rest your eyes if you wish. The work is patient. The work will still be here when you return. Now and then, Evo pauses to reach for the enamel cup. Steam curls in the still air of the cabin. Evo takes one slow sip of barley tea, exhales gently, and sets the cup back at the corner of the desk. The tea smells warm and nutty and faintly sweet, like the inside of a bread oven that has been left to cool. The cup, dented and enamel and pale blue, is warm to the touch. Outside the cabin windows, the last gold has slipped from the horizon, and the sky has deepened into the soft lilac of full dusk. The gauze curtains glow, very faintly from the inside, that dim amber glow of a single oil lamp held safe in its brass base. Beyond the curtains, the world is a series of gentle shadows, folding themselves into evening. A sheep bell chimes somewhere below. Then another. Distant sheep bells drifting up from the valley, carried on the same warm updraft that carries the smell of hay and the faint sweetness of clover. The bells are not organized. They ring only when a sheep steps or turns or shakes its head. They are the soft, uneven music of a flock settling for the night. Evo brushes another letter. Yellow pollen falls through the copper sieve. The heap in the tray grows. The heavier pile on the desk grows. The lighter pile on the desk grows. Everything grows a little, and nothing is hurried. Time inside the cabin has begun to loosen. It is not the strict ticking time of a clock. It is the slow, agreeable time of dusk itself. A minute here might be as long as a small song. A minute there might be as short as the fall of a single leaf. There is no need to measure. The balloon knows where it is going, and the wind knows where it is going, and they have already agreed. After a while, Evo sets down the brush. They rise from the stool and stretch, unhurriedly, arms lifted just a little, then let softly back to their sides. They step across the small cabin, 3 steps, no more, and lean at the wicker rail by the eastern window. The curtain has drifted aside, just enough for a wide slice of dusk to enter. Evo looks out. You look out with them. Below, the valley has begun to reveal itself. Small clusters of amber light have appeared in the folds of the land. Lanterns, of course, hung above doorways and along garden paths, and at the ends of little wooden bridges. Each cluster is a village. Each village is smaller than a coin from up here, And yet, each one holds people and animals and quiet suppers and warm rooms. Evo looks at them all with the same soft attention. The balloon is not descending yet. It is only drifting, agreeing with the wind. Now, if you are still with me, let your breath slow again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your body sink a little deeper into whatever is holding it. Let the small weight of your head rest fully upon the pillow. Let your hands go heavy. Let your feet go warm. The balloon drifts. Evo leans at the rail. The rigging creaks, that soft groan of rope against wicker. A warm updraft of hay-scented air rises past the cabin and lifts, briefly, a loose strand of Evo's wheat-colored hair. Evo tucks it back behind their ear without thinking. The gauze curtain sways a little in the same warm air. The lamp glows. The tea steam curls. All is as it should be. After a while, Evo turns from the rail and returns to the brass sorting desk. They pick up the brush again. They lift another letter. The rhythm resumes. Brush, turn, brush, sift, pour, close the tin, set the letter aside, reach for the next. There is a letter now that has been unusually dusted, a small envelope so thoroughly powdered with lilac pollen that its original color is nearly hidden. Evo smiles a little, very faintly, at the sight of it. Someone's window box, perhaps. Someone's lilac tree in full bloom. Evo brushes and brushes, and the copper sieve fills with a soft violet dust, and the tin labeled lilac receives its share. And by the time the letter is clean, it turns out to have been the pale blue of a robin's egg. Evo sets it on the pile of middleweight letters and reaches for the next. The rhythm of the brushing is the rhythm of your breath. Slow in, slow out. The rhythm of the sieve is the rhythm of your breath. Slow in, slow out. The rhythm of the rigging, rope against wicker, wicker against rope, is the rhythm of your breath, and the rhythm of the balloon, and the rhythm of the evening itself. Somewhere below, a small stream must be running through a meadow, because Evo can hear, very faintly, a thread of water sound, high and clean, like a single silver bead being turned slowly in a bowl. The stream is not close. The balloon is not low enough to be close to anything. But sound rises. Sound rises on warm updrafts, together with the smell of hay and the faint, tinkling music of distant sheep bells. Evo brushes another letter. Fine yellow pollen falls through the copper sieve. The tin labeled deep yellow receives a small portion. The tin closes with a soft, papery click. Evo sips the barley tea. Steam curls in the still air. The lamp glows. The rigging creaks. All is well. All is quietly, patiently well. At some point, it is difficult to say precisely when, because time inside the cabin is loose, and dusk is a long, gentle color. Evo finishes sifting the first half of the satchel. They set the brush down. They tap the copper sieve once against the wooden tray. They cap the last of the tins. Then they gather the 3 piles of clean letters, the heavier, the middle, the lighter, and set each pile in front of them like 3 small, quiet villages of paper. Now comes the tying. Evo reaches up, without looking, to the 2 lengths of soft twine hanging above the desk. The twine is pale, almost the color of straw, and it smells very faintly of the plant it was made from, a soft, grassy smell. Evo cuts a length with a small pair of blunt scissors. and lays the twine flat on the desk. They place the heavier pile of letters on top of it, straighten the edges with the pad of one finger, and, with slow and practiced hands, bring the twine up around the bundle and tie it in a loose, kind knot. Not tight, never tight, just enough to hold the letters together on their journey down into the valley. The knot is a simple one. A small bow, in fact, the kind you might tie in a child's ribbon or in the neck of a small cloth bag of dried herbs. Evo tightens it just enough that it will hold, and no more. Then they set the bundle aside on a shelf beside the door and reach for the next length of twine. They tie the middle pile. They tie the lighter pile. Each bundle joins the first on the shelf until 3 neat parcels of paper rest side by side, waiting patiently for their descent. Evo stretches again. They rise from the stool. They cross to the eastern window and lean at the rail. The valley is closer now. Not much closer. The balloon does not descend so much as invite the land to rise gently beneath it, but closer. The clusters of amber lanterns have grown, and small details have begun to appear inside them. The darker line of a road between houses, the pale square of a laundry drying in an evening yard, the tiny, patient shape of a dog lying on a doorstep. Evo watches for a long moment. The warm updraft passes across their face and yours. The gauze curtain sways. The lamp glows. The rigging creaks. Somewhere, a sheep bell chimes. Then Ivo returns to the desk and begins the second half of the sorting. Another letter. Another brush. Fine pollen falling through the copper sieve. The dry rustle of paper. The soft click of a tin. The slow sway of the suspended cabin. You may find, if you have been listening closely, that your eyelids have grown heavier. That is only right. That is only the natural way of a body invited to rest. Let them close if they wish. Nothing more is required of you. The story will continue whether or not you follow it. The story is not a task. The story is only a quiet companion. Evo brushes a letter that is dusted with 2 colors at once, pale yellow along one edge, lilac along the other. They smile a little again, that same faint, private smile, and tap the pollen from each side in turn, so that the yellow falls first and is set into its tin, and then the lilac, which is set into its own. Neither color is mixed. Neither is confused. This is the small pride of the Pollen-Sifter, to keep the colors clean, so that whoever, later, someday, might wish to use these tins, a soap maker, perhaps, or a paper tinter, or someone who dyes silk for lanterns, will find each color exactly as it should be. Now the balloon shifts, very slightly, as a new current of air passes underneath. It is not a jolt. It is not a lurch. It is only a gentle tilt, like the slow settling of a boat when someone steps aboard. The lamp swings a small distance and rights itself. The gauze curtains sway. The tins on their small shelf lean and lean back. The dented enamel cup slides half a finger's width across the brass desk, and Ivo, without looking, catches it and rests one hand on the rim until the sway settles. Then everything is calm again. The rigging creaks softly. The cabin sways slowly. The balloon drifts on, agreeing still with the wind. Evo returns to the sifting. There is a comfortable quiet in the way they work. Their hands know what to do without asking. The brush lifts. The envelope turns. The pollen falls. The tin closes. The letter joins its pile. Again, again. The rhythm is a lullaby that Ivo hums without knowing they are humming. and you, listening from your quiet place, can hum along with it in your own slow breath. In, out, in, out. Half the letters are sorted now. 3/4. The satchel grows lighter. The tins grow a little heavier. The dented enamel cup grows cool at the rim, and Ivo pours a fresh measure from the small stove-warmed kettle. Steam rises again, curling in still air, disappearing near the woven ceiling. The smell of barley tea softens the cabin further. It settles into the woven walls. It settles into the oat-colored coat. It settles into the very fibers of the twine. Outside, the dusk has deepened by another shade. The lilac has darkened into a blue that is almost violet, and the first small stars have appeared. Not many, only 3 or 4 in the eastern half of the sky. They do not twinkle so much as breathe. They come, and they stay, and they wait patiently for the others to join them. Ivo brushes another letter. Yellow pollen falls through the copper sieve. The rhythm of the work is a kind of quiet music. The rhythm of the balloon is another quiet music, layered over the first. The rhythm of your breath, if you are still here with me, is a third music, softer than either. After a while measured only in tea sips and letter piles, Ivo finishes the sifting. The last envelope, a small square of pale green paper, has been brushed clean, and its cream-colored pollen has fallen through the copper sieve and settled into the tin labeled cream. Ivo caps the last tin with a soft click, sets the brush down, and rests both hands, palms flat, on the smooth brass of the sorting desk. The brass is cool. The cool metal of a brass sorting desk under warm, steady hands. Ivo exhales slowly, a long, soft breath, and closes their eyes for a moment. Then they begin to tie the remaining bundles. The heavier letters into one parcel, the middle letters into another, the lighter letters into a third. Soft twine, small, loose bows. Each bundle joins the shelf beside the door. 6 parcels now, side by side, patient as a row of loaves cooling on a windowsill. Ivo steps back. They regard the shelf. They nod once, softly, to themselves, and it is not the nod of a task completed so much as the nod of a friend recognized in a familiar room. The letters will be delivered. The colors have been kept clean. The tins are closed. The pollen is safe. All is quietly, patiently well. Now, Ivo turns to the small stove and lifts the kettle. There's still tea in it, and it is still warm. They fill the dented enamel cup one more time and carry it, held in both hands, back to the eastern window. They lean at the wicker rail and look out. You lean with them. The valley is nearer still. The clusters of amber lanterns have become patterns of lights, and among them, Ivo can now see the 2 orchards that mark the mooring line. The 2 orchards lie on opposite sides of a small folded field. Between them, strung high and level, runs a long mooring rope. A rope thick enough to hold a small balloon steady in the last calm airs of evening, and pale enough to catch what remains of the light. The rope is fixed at each end to a stout wooden post, and each post is set at the edge of an orchard. The orchards themselves are quiet. The trees are old. The branches are heavy with leaves, and, in this season, with small, pale fruits that will not be picked for weeks yet. The trees are sleeping. The orchards are sleeping. Only the mooring rope is awake, holding itself patiently across the folded field. Ivo sips the tea. The steam curls in the still air, faintly amber in the lamplight. The gauze curtain sways. The rigging creaks. The balloon drifts on. Now, the descent begins. Not sharply, not with any sense of falling, only with a slow, gentle lowering, as though the sky were setting the balloon down onto a very soft table. The warm updrafts have thinned, and cooler airs that smell of leaves and earth and the faint sweetness of orchard fruit, are beginning to drift up from the valley floor. The balloon considers these airs. The balloon agrees with them. The balloon lowers. Below, the mooring rope grows nearer. Evo watches it approach the way one watches a familiar path at the end of a familiar walk. Evo knows every knot in that rope. Evo knows the 2 posts and the 2 orchards and the folded field between them. There is no anxiety in the approach. There's only the small, comfortable feeling of coming home to a place one visits often. The balloon drifts lower, lower. The top of a fruit tree passes beneath the wicker cabin at a comfortable distance. Then another. Then the folded field itself, dark green and softly striped with the shadows of hedgerows. Then the mooring rope rises to meet the underside of the cabin, and with a small, patient thump, no more startling than the closing of a book, the cabin settles into the cradle of the rope. Evo has already stepped to the rail. They lean out gently and slip a soft, wide loop of hemp over the mooring rope, drawing it tight enough that the cabin will not drift free, and loose enough that it may still sway a little in the last airs of the evening. The balloon above them, its envelope now half slack, settles into a slow, dignified droop. It is resting. The wicker cabin swings once, twice, and then rocks softly, half-tethered, in the last blue light. You are still here with me. You are still in the cabin, near the eastern window, with your hands on the smooth rail. The cabin sways beneath you, gently, gently, in the way a hammock sways, when the hammock and the wind have been friends for a long time. Below the cabin, at the far end of a slender rope, a wide woven basket has been raised into place from the orchard floor. Evo does not have to lower the mail far, only a small distance, into the waiting basket that swings quietly a few feet beneath the cabin's floor. Evo turns from the rail and steps back inside. They gather the 6 bundles of letters, one by one, cradling them against their chest like a small, sleepy stack of books. They carry them to the low doorway. They kneel, slowly, unhurriedly, and set the bundles into the basket, arranging them so that the heavier parcels sit at the bottom and the lighter parcels rest on top. Each bundle settles into place with a soft, papery sound. The dry rustle of paper, once more, in the still evening air. When the basket is full, Evo gives a small tug on the slender rope. Somewhere in the orchard below, another person, a night warden perhaps, in a soft, dark coat and a wide, quiet hat, feels the tug and knows the mail has arrived. They will lower the basket in their own time. They will carry it in their own time through the orchard, along a footpath, and into a small stone building at the edge of the nearest village, where lamps are burning and someone else is patiently waiting to read the addresses aloud. But none of this is Evo's concern now. Evo's task is complete. The mail has been sifted. The pollen has been sorted. The bundles have been tied. The basket has been filled. The rope has been tugged. All is well. Evo rises slowly from the doorway. They step back inside the cabin. They close the woven half door behind them, not to keep anything out, the warmth in. They cross to the brass sorting desk and rest their palms once more on the cool metal. Cool metal. Warm hands. The lamp glows. The steam curls. The rigging creaks softly. The cabin sways. There's nothing left to do. That is the sweetest part of Evo's evening. The moment when there is nothing left to do, and the balloon is safely moored between two sleeping orchards, and the tea is still warm, and the last blue light is still holding, softly, at the edges of the world. Evo lifts the enamel cup one more time. They cross to the eastern window and lean again at the wicker rail. You lean with them one last time. The valley is spread below in gentle patterns of amber and dark green. The two orchards are sleeping to either side. The mooring rope is pale in the last light. The stars, more of them now, are appearing in slow, patient numbers across the eastern sky. The first breath of night is entering the folded field. Somewhere, a sheep bell chimes. Then another. The bells drift up on cooler airs, softer now than they were an hour ago. The smell of hay is faint. The smell of orchard leaves is closer. The gauze curtains stir. The lamp burns steady. Evo drinks the last of the barley tea, slowly, in small, unhurried sips. They exhale. They rest the cup on the wicker rail, and they close their eyes briefly, and they let the soft sway of the half-tethered cabin become the whole of their attention. The soft sway of the suspended cabin, the slow sway, the gentle sway, right, left, right, left. Now let me speak more softly. Now let the sentences grow shorter. Now let the words settle. The cabin sways. The lamp glows. The rigging creaks. The rope against the wicker. The wicker against the rope. The gauze curtain lifts a little, settles, lifts a little, settles. Evo sits down on the low, three-legged stool. They rest their hands in their lap. They let their shoulders soften. They let their jaw soften. They let their eyes half close. Somewhere below, a sheep bell chimes. Somewhere above, another small star breathes into place. The kettle is quiet on the small stove. The tins are closed. The tea is finished. The bundles are gone. There's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to do. You may let your body grow heavier now. Let the pillow hold your head fully. Let the blanket hold your shoulders fully. Let your hands go soft. Let your feet go warm. Let your face go still. The cabin sways. The lamp glows. The rigging creaks. If your mind has drifted, that is only right. If your thoughts have grown slow and shapeless, that is only right. If you cannot quite recall how the story began, that is only right. You do not need to remember. You only need to rest. The balloon is safe. The orchards are asleep. The mooring rope is holding. The letters are on their way. The pollen is in its tins. The tea is finished. The lamp is glowing. The cabin is swaying. Right, left, right, left. Evo is very still now. Their eyes have closed. Their breath has slowed. The dented enamel cup rests, empty, on the wicker rail. The oat-colored coat is loose about their shoulders. The ribbon in their hair has softened. They are dozing gently at their post. You may doze gently at your post. The rigging creaks. The gauze curtain sways. The lamp glows amber. The stars breathe into place. The sheep bells are far. The orchards are quiet. The balloon is at rest. You are at rest. Let your breath go where it wishes. Let your thoughts drift like slow pollen through a copper sieve, falling softly, harmlessly, into a small warm heap and out of sight. Let each thought fall. Let each thought settle. Let each thought be sorted and set gently aside. Pale yellow, lilac, cream, dusk blue, mixed. Everything sorted. Everything closed with a soft click. Everything set aside. You do not need to hold any of it now. You do not need to hold anything. The cabin sways. The lamp glows. The rigging creaks. The rope against the wicker. The wicker against the rope. Warm updrafts of hay-scented air. Cool airs of orchard leaves. A single sheep bell very far. Another farther still. The last blue light at the edge of the sky. The first slow stars. Ivo dozing. The cabin swaying. The balloon at rest. You at rest. You at rest. Softly now. Softer. Rest. Rest. Sleep if you are ready. Sleep if the sleep is near. The pollen has been sifted. The letters are on their way. The lamp glows. The cabin sways. Good night. Good night. Good night. And still the balloon holds you. Still the cabin cradles you. Still the lamp burns low and steady, its small flame a soft golden bead inside the copper lantern. And the light of it, you notice without needing to notice, is the same color as the honey in the little jar on the shelf, and the same color as the crust of the bread in the tin, and the same color as the ribbon in Ivo's hair when it was newly tied. Everything on this balloon, it seems, is the color of gentle amber. Everything on this balloon is the color of rest. The wicker creaks once, then settles. The rope shifts once, then settles. Somewhere below, a long way below, a sheep bell rings. A single small tone, thin as a copper filing, and the sound rises through the orchards and through the layers of cool leaf air and through the warmer hay-scented air and reaches the cabin and lays itself down beside you like a small folded cloth. Another bell answers, farther off, softer, and lays itself down beside the first. Two small folded cloths. Then a third, farther still, and quieter still, laying itself down like a whisper of linen. Three small folded cloths, all neatly stacked, all set aside. You do not need to count them. They are already counted. They are already gathered. They are already put away. The gauze curtain sways. The lamp glows amber. The stars above have arranged themselves in their slow, patient way, not brightly, not sharply, but softly, as if they too are half asleep, as if they too are willing to be quiet for a long while. They will not ask anything of you. They will only shine gently from very far and let their light fall on the balloon and on the orchards and on the pale roofs of the small town far below, where the last of the lamplighters is finishing his slow round, tapping each glass with a soft brass wand, and each lamp answers with a small orange breath, and the street goes softly amber, and the lamplighter walks on, unhurried, humming a tune with no particular tune to it. You do not need to follow him. He knows his round. He knows every corner of every quiet street. He will finish in his own time and hang his brass wand on a hook by his door and go inside and put the kettle on and sit by the small stove and let the day fold itself away. Everyone in this country folds their day away gently at the end. The orchard keepers fold their day away. The bell shepherds fold their day away. The lamplighter folds his day away. Evo folds their day away. You are folding your day away. Fold, 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 corner to corner, edge to edge. Smooth the crease with the flat of the hand. Set the folded day on the shelf. Close the cabinet door with a soft click. cabinet door has closed. The day is on the shelf. You do not need to open it again tonight. Tomorrow, if you wish, you may open it. Tomorrow, if you wish, you may take out any small thing from the shelf and turn it in your hands. But not now. Not tonight. Tonight, the shelf is closed. Tonight, everything is folded. Tonight, everything is put away. Above you, the great pale envelope of the balloon holds its warm breath. It hums, very faintly, the way a large, kind animal hums when it is content. A low, steady note that is more a feeling than a sound, more a warmth than a note. You feel it in the wicker. You feel it in the ropes. You feel it in the small floorboards under your feet, if your feet are there, if your feet are anywhere, if you can still find them, which perhaps you cannot, and that is fine. There is no need to find your feet tonight. There is no need to find anything tonight. Everything you might need has already been found. Everything you might need is already here. The dented enamel cup, empty on the wicker rail. The small copper lantern, glowing amber. The gauze curtain, swaying. The oat-colored coat, loose around Ivo's shoulders. The soft ribbon in their hair. The sheep bells, laid down like folded cloths. The pale, slow stars. The last blue light going. The first true dark coming. And in the coming of the true dark, nothing is lost. Nothing is taken away. Only a soft blanket is drawn up from the horizon and settled across the sky. A blanket the color of deep river water. A blanket sprinkled with tiny pinholes of amber light. And the world is tucked in beneath it. The orchards are tucked in. The small town is tucked in. The bell shepherds and their sheep are tucked in. The lamplighter in his small kitchen is tucked in. Ivo, dozing at their post, is tucked in. The balloon is tucked in. You are tucked in. Tucked in. Tucked in. Warm at the shoulders. Warm at the ribs. Warm at the hands. Warm at the feet, if your feet are still findable. Warm in the small hollow of the throat, where the breath comes and goes so quietly now that even you can barely hear it. Barely a breath. Barely a breath. Enough. Exactly enough. Letters, you remember dimly. The letters that were placed in the small brass slot earlier. The letters bound with pale ribbon. The letters written in careful, patient hands. The letters are being carried now, softly, southward, by a warm current of hay-scented air. They travel without hurry. They travel without wait. Each one will arrive when it is meant to arrive. Each one will be opened by kind hands. Each one will be read by lamplight at a small kitchen table by someone who has been waiting patiently for good news. You do not need to know what the letters say. The letters know what they say. The letters know where they are going. The letters know their own quiet business. Let them go. Let them go. They are already gone. And the balloon drifts, and the balloon holds, and the cabin sways, the smallest sway, the sway of a cradle in the last hour of the evening, when the one who was rocking it has slowed their hand, and slowed their hand, and slowed their hand, until the sway itself is almost still, and the cradle rocks only on its own remembered rhythm. And even that is fading. And even that is softening. And even that is going gently down into the deep, quiet floor of the night. Down into the deep, quiet floor of the night. Down. Down. Softly down. You are very warm now. Very warm and very light. The wicker holds you without effort. The lantern glows without effort. Ivo dozes without effort. The The balloon drifts without effort. The stars breathe without effort. The sheep bells sound from a great distance without effort. Nothing here is asking anything of you. Nothing here needs your attention. Nothing here needs your care. Everything here is already cared for. Everything here is already at rest. You may be at rest too. You may be at rest. If a thought drifts up, let it drift on. It will find its own copper sieve. It will find its own small, warm heap. It will settle itself, and you will not have to sort it. If a small worry lifts its head, let it lie back down. There's a small folded blanket in the corner of your mind, and the worry knows how to find it, and the worry knows how to lie down beneath it, and the worry knows how to close its eyes. If a memory floats through, let it float. Bright, or pale, or soft, or shining, whichever it is, let it float. It will pass. Another will come. It will pass, too. They're all passing through the warm amber light of the cabin, and none of them are asking to be caught. Let them pass. Let them pass. Let them pass. The gauze curtain sways. The lantern glows. The rigging creaks once, then settles. Far below, the small town has grown quiet. The last window has gone dim. The last chimney has let out its last pale ribbon of wood smoke. The last dog has curled itself under a bench in a walled garden and laid its long chin on its paws. The last child has been carried up a narrow stair, still half dreaming, and laid in a small bed under a quilt of many soft squares. And the quilt has been drawn up, and a hand has smoothed the hair back from the small forehead, and the door has been closed with a soft click, and the small bed has begun its long, calm sailing into morning. Everywhere, quilts. Everywhere, soft clicks of closing doors. Everywhere, the small breaths of sleeping people. Everywhere, the last low murmur of a kettle that has boiled itself out. Everywhere, cats folded into loaves on warm rugs. Everywhere, small stoves banked down to embers. Everywhere, the country going gently into its long, good sleep. You are part of that country now. You are one of its sleepers now. Your quilt has been drawn up. Your door has been closed with a soft click. Your small bed has begun its long, calm sailing into morning. Your small bed sails. Your small bed sails. Above the cabin, the balloon holds its warm, patient breath. The pale envelope shines, very faintly, in the last of the starlight. A soft, round moon of its own, tethered by a few slow ropes, drifting where the airs wish it to drift, going nowhere in particular, going everywhere gently. The airs wish it to drift a little to the south. The airs wish it to drift a little to the west. The airs are patient. The airs have all night. The airs have all of tomorrow, if they wish. The airs are not counting. You are not counting. There is nothing to count. Evo, at their post, breathes slowly. The ribbon in their hair rests against the collar of the oat-colored coat. Their hands are folded, one over the other, in their lap. Their small brass compass, tied to their belt by a length of green cord, rests quietly against their hip. The compass needle wavers, then holds. Wavers, then holds. The compass knows the way. The compass has always known the way. Ivo does not need to check it. The compass points softly toward morning, not toward north, not toward south, toward morning. The compasses in this country are like that. They point where they are needed to point. Tonight, they point toward morning, which is many hours away, and reachable only by sleep. Reachable only by sleep. reachable only by sleep. You are on your way. The compass is pointing. The balloon is drifting. Evo is dozing. The lantern is glowing. The stars are breathing. The country is quilted. The letters are traveling. The bells are folded. The day is on the shelf. The cabinet is closed. The pollen is sifted. The thoughts are sorted. The worries are tucked. The memories are passing. The wicker holds you. The rope holds you. The warm air holds you. The night holds you. You are held. You are held. You are held. Softly now. Softer. Softer still. The lantern dims, just a hair. The wick has settled. The flame has settled. The small copper walls have settled. And the amber light grows a shade warmer, a shade rounder, a shade more like the light inside a closed eyelid. Like the light of a summer afternoon, seen through the thin skin of an eyelid, as one dozes in a hammock, in an orchard, with a book fallen shut on one's chest. That kind of light, that kind of ease. The cabin holds that light. You hold that light. That light holds you. And now the sheep bells are gone. Not gone away, only gone quiet. Only laid down. Only folded. The bell shepherds have gathered them up in their long shawls and carried them home and hung them on wooden pegs beside the doors of their small stone huts. And the bells sway, once, twice, and then hang still. And the shepherds go inside, and the doors close with soft clicks, and the huts glow amber from within, and the huts, one by one, dim, and the huts, one by one, sleep. The huts sleep. The orchards sleep. The town sleeps. The lamplighter sleeps. The dog under the bench sleeps. The child under the quilt of many soft squares sleeps. Ivo sleeps. The balloon sleeps in its slow, drifting way. You sleep, or you are very nearly there. Very nearly there. Very nearly there. A last small, warm breath rises through the envelope of the balloon. The pale, round shape lifts, the smallest lift, and settles. The ropes shift, the smallest shift, and settle. The wicker creaks, the smallest creak, and settles. The cabin sways, the smallest sway, and settles. Settles, settles, settles. You are not going anywhere tonight that you must go. You are only drifting, only drifting, only held, only warm, only quiet, only soft, only here, only here, only here. And here, it turns out, is enough. Here has always been enough. Here, in this warm amber cabin, with a kind, sleepy companion at the post, and a lantern glowing low, and a gauze curtain swaying, and the pale envelope humming its patient hum, and the night quilted across the country below. Here is more than enough. Here is plenty. Here is exactly what you needed, though you did not know quite what you needed, and did not need to know. You did not need to know. You did not need to know. Everything was already prepared. Everything was already ready. You have only to rest. You have only to rest. The lantern glows. The cabin sways. The balloon drifts. Evo dozes. You rest. You rest. 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 The stars are very small now. The stars are very far. The stars are so far, they're almost the memory of stars. The stars are so far, they're almost the sound of stars. The stars are so far, they are almost the feeling of stars. A soft pinprick warmth on the closed eyelids, like the light of a candle seen through cupped hands. That is all the stars are now. That is all you need them to be. The gauze curtain sways once, then is still. The rigging creaks once, then is still. The wicker settles. The rope settles. The lantern settles. The night settles. You settle. You settle. Down through the last soft layers. Down through the last warm airs. Down through the last slow currents. Down gently into the deep, quiet floor of the night. The floor of the night is warm. The floor of the night is soft. The floor of the night is kind. You have arrived at the floor of the night. You may lie down on it. You may lie down. You may lie down. And you do. And you do. The balloon drifts on above you, keeping its patient watch, though you do not need watching. The lantern glows on above you, keeping its small, kind light, though you do not need light. Evo dozes on at their post, keeping their gentle company, though you do not need company. The country sleeps on below you, keeping its quilted quiet, though you do not need to know it is there. All of these are simply here, simply here, simply here while you sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The last thing you might notice, if you notice anything at all, is the smell of hay, warm hay, and orchard leaves, and a small trace of cedar from the wicker, and a small trace of honey from the little jar on the shelf, and the softest thread of wood smoke rising from somewhere very far below. These are the smells of this country. These are the smells of your rest. These are the smells that will still be here when morning comes, if morning comes, whenever morning comes, in its own slow, patient time. Hay, orchard leaves, cedar, honey, wood smoke, and amber light, and a swaying curtain, and a small dented enamel cup, and a ribbon softened by the day, and an oat-colored coat loose about the shoulders, and the sound of breath, Evo's breath, and your breath, and the breath of the great pale envelope above. All three of them slow, all three of them warm, all three of them one long, soft breath. One long, soft breath. One long, soft breath. In, out, in, out. Slower, slower, softer, softer. You are here. You are held. You are warm. You are safe. You are done. You may sleep. You may sleep now. You are already sleeping. The lantern glows. The cabin sways. The balloon drifts on. Good night. Good night. Good night. Sleep well. Sleep long. Sleep deep. Good night.